So what's good, people? We're back with another episode. We'll talk again. I told y'all we'd talk again. On this episode, man, I wanted to talk about protecting black women. You know what I'm saying? This subject, I'm gonna tell you how it came about in my house. Uh, there was a situation that occurred with a young lady in McDonald's. She was in McDonald's. She didn't give the guy what he wanted or whatever the case may be. He was arguing about a drink or a straw or something. White guy. And he basically grabbed the black girl and started attacking her. So the black guys, the young guys that were in there, of course, you know what I'm saying, they grabbed the girl and tried to pull her back and everything and try to break up the whole situation. And the problem came because my wife was like, let me put this phone down. You know, I'm in the frame, so I don't need to see it. My wife was like pissed off. She was like, why are they grabbing him? Why are they grabbing her? Why aren't they grabbing him? Why aren't they defending her? Why aren't they, you know what I'm saying, fighting him to get him off of her? And I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, you wouldn't want your sons, jumping into that situation and potentially being locked up. And, this is my naive thought process. So she was like, what you mean? She was like, if my sons see a young lady being attacked, I would think they would jump in and protect that young black lady. And, we went back and forth a little bit and, you know what I'm saying, the end result being understanding on my part. Because see, like, I grew up in a big family. If you touched one of my cousins, it was a problem. You know what I'm saying? If we got a call saying something was going on, we was pulling up. We pull up to an elementary school. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? But my wife grew up solo. It was just her. So, you know what I'm saying? That meant that she ain't have no big brothers. She ain't have nobody to say, don't touch my cousin, don't touch my sister, don't touch, you know what I'm saying, my niece. She didn't have, that level of protection. So growing up in that manner, I could see how, the world could seem so confined for you. And I could see how it could be a problem for you to watch a young black girl being attacked and for that young black girl to feel alone, feel like nobody is with her because she doesn't have any siblings, any family members, and you know what I'm saying, anything like that. And of course, my wife had a younger brother, rest in peace to Larry. But and he was a big guy, but by the time he came along, she was already pretty much grown. So that's how it hit home because I'm thinking, nah, you wouldn't just have your sons out there involved in that type of situation. And it's solely a selfish thing. You don't want your sons to be locked up. You don't want your sons to get in trouble. You don't want people coming at your household. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want those problems in your household. And I had to be straightened out, which is one benefit of having a strong black woman in your life because she can tell you things and put you in position on things that you might not have thought about normally. So here I am, a husband. My mother is out there, living her life. I got aunts, I got nieces, I got cousins, I got a daughter. And now I'm faced in this situation where it's like black men don't protect black women. That kind of hurt. I argued the point for us fellas as much as I could. I won't lie. I argued down that black men do protect black women. But the truth is, traditionally, we haven't. All the way up to now, we haven't. You know what I'm saying? Even think back to your household. If you had a younger sister or something like that in the street, nobody couldn't say nothing to your little sister. But in the house, psychologically, mentally, you would do and say all kind of stuff to your sister. It wasn't until I got older where I realized that I never told my little sister she was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And that's a part of protection. So here we are, 2020, and we're looking at all of these black women being attacked by black men, by white men, by all types of men, by other women, so on and so forth, with no protection. When someone kills a black man, whether it be another black man or whether it be a police officer, who's on the front line for us? Black women. You know what I'm saying? So, thing is, I feel like we gotta do the same thing. We have to be on the front line for them. When an issue occurs for a black woman, why doesn't it get the same amount of attention that it would when it occurs for a black man? Those types of questions have to be answered. You know, we have to actually stand up for our people, stand up for our women, and represent. Yeah, I had to turn the air on. It's hot. Anyway, so I look at the situation of Miss Breonna Taylor. She was in a situation where officers busted into her home. They didn't know who was busting into their home. So her boyfriend, being, a good boyfriend, a good 2A all day individual, American citizen, defended his home, defended his lady, protected his queen. In the midst of all of this, she gets killed by the officers that busted in like criminals. And in that scenario, it makes me wonder, what would I do and what could I do in that situation that would allow my queen to still be here? Now, I understand Breonna doesn't have that option. Her man did all he could to protect her, but it wasn't enough, and they ended up hitting her and killing her and lying to her mother and telling her that they were at the hospital, when in reality she was laying on the floor in her place. I believe they lied for days to her mother. So I'm saying all of this to just show you the different levels of protection that black women need. It's not to say all black women are weak, but it's to say that black women have been put in a position to be too strong. What do I mean by too strong? What do I mean by that? Well, it's simple. If you put people in a position where they can never be vulnerable, then they're too strong. If you put people in a position where when they go to the hospital, the doctors don't want to give them the same amount of medicine or the right medicine or even treat them correctly, they're too strong. And it's not a thing to say that they need to be weaker. It's a thing to say that they need stronger representation, because the people out here are spreading messages that's false. So if you have people spreading false messages like, oh, a black woman could take more pain, So let's not give her an epidural during birth and possibly cause her to actually lose her life during birth. That's false information. Black man, stand up. Your lady in the hospital, you need to be speaking up for her. Whatever she says she need, whatever pain she says she got, you need to be multiplying that situation until they fix it and do what's necessary. If you take her to a checkup and she's saying, "Oh, this hurting, that hurting, my side hurting," and she always saying it, and she always saying it, and you go to the doctor and they're like, "Well, here's some Tylenol, she gonna be okay." Nah, you gotta stand up in that situation. We gotta make sure that we protect our black queens at all costs. That means against doctors, that means against authority, that means any situation that it calls for. And here's the crazy thing. It can't just be your family members. I know a lot of people looking down like, yo, okay, you tripping, but the reality of it all is every black woman doesn't have somebody to stand up for them. So if you a black man, if you wear the shield and armor right here, you don't have no choice but to stand up for black women. Like, no choice. Listen, I want the people who did Miss Taylor wrong, I want them to say her name. I want them to say her name behind bars. I want them to be arrested for the crimes that they committed. I want people to see them as the criminals that they are. I don't want them walking around free to be able to do this again to another queen. To be able to bust into another household because they got a false warrant or because they got the address wrong and then feel like, oh, because we made a mistake. Nah, that mistake cost somebody's life. That wasn't a mistake. See what I'm saying? You can't mistakenly do that. It's too many things that fall in place for you to mistakenly do that. Too many people involved for you to mistakenly do that. That's the same thing with Mr. Floyd. There's too many officers around for this guy to be able to just put his knee on his neck and just hold it there for 8 minutes and some change. See, we can't have those types of mistakes when it comes to our queens, when it comes to our people. A lot of times when you talk about women, black men raised up to be a certain way, raised up to think about women in a certain light, depending on the era that you came from. We got to change that notion. So if you think of black women as bitches and hoes, you need to change that mindset. You need to think of them as a black queen first, a black woman first. Somebody who deserves your protection, somebody who deserves, to be assisted in every way possible. And I'm gonna tell you why. When them people come and they get you, they don't be thinking about what crimes you committed, what you did, who you are as a person. Did you pay your child support? If them people lay you up today or tomorrow, it's going to be black women standing up, fighting for your rights, organizing and setting up events and, actually putting forth their time and their energy to your cause. And I feel like it's about time that we start doing the same. Now, I know you got to practice what you preach. Petey, you saying this right now, but what are you doing? Like, I actively try my best to support all black women in all ways, whether it be mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever the case may be. Like, if I can help in some way, shape, or form, and my wife is okay with that help, which she is, then I try my best to help. I don't want to see no black woman running around mentally stressed out. I did that to women. I know what that does. It's hurtful. And young fellas, you might not understand it right now, but it is hurtful. You know what I'm saying? I understand what it feels like to see somebody who doesn't want to go home because home isn't home. I understand seeing somebody who getting played and their emotions constantly played with. Then at the same time, I understand seeing these images of, you know, black woman that claiming suicide because she got stopped by a police officer and put in jail. That she would just commit suicide. Or these black people right now that they saying is hanging themselves, as if that is the appropriate way for a black person to commit suicide. And notice I said appropriate way because there is no appropriate way to commit suicide. But let me tell you one thing, we don't do that. So this show, man, is more about me telling you how I feel. It ain't necessarily the gospel. It ain't necessarily something that you're going to take and then, apply it to your life and your life is going to be perfect. But we got to do something, brothers. We got to do something, fellas. We got to do something, niggas. We got to do something to make sure that we change our reputation in regards to these queens. Because there's no way in hell that they should feel like they're being attacked by everybody on earth. White man, Chinese man, Spanish man, black man. But then they always come to the defense of the black man. It's not a tit for tat situation, it's just a real thing. You got to recognize it. You got to see all of them sisters on the front line fighting the war for people. A lot of times they don't even know. I recognize it, so I know you got the intellect to recognize it as well. So what do we do in a situation like Miss Breonna Taylor, who was shot 8 times just for being in her home? How do we protect the future queens that could be in that scenario? In my eyes, there has to be consequences towards the people who actually did the crimes towards her, the people who actually took her life. They got to face real time. It's only then and only then that these other people that look like them and wear the uniform as the same uniform as them would gain understanding that we can't just do this to these people. We can't just treat black women like this. We can't just treat black people like this. And I understand that all of a sudden Black Lives Matter doesn't include everyone. Doesn't include women, doesn't include LGBTQ. You know what I'm saying? But in my eyes, when I say it, it includes everybody. If you want it to be specific, I understand. But I believe that, there's no need to water down what we're trying to accomplish. I think the biggest level of understanding that I could give to anybody is the level of understanding that was given to me. If it was your daughter, your mother, your sister, your cousin, your friend, sitting in a messed up situation where somebody is attacking them, no matter who it is, would you want the fellas around to help? Would you want that help? Would you want somebody to step in and, protect her and keep her safe until you can get there, or until, somebody else can get there, or she could get out of that situation? Would you want that? If you in the hood, or your girl in the hood, would you want your girl to be harassed by these dudes? Or would you want somebody to step up and be like, yo, leave her alone, man. Let her do her thing. Excuse me, ma'am, you could go on about your business. You don't gotta worry about them. See, for me, I kind of prefer people stepping up. I kind of prefer to see black men actually step up and actually stand for black women, whether they know them or not. That's just me. Like, I kind of prefer that. I don't care if it was me. If I was like, yo, what's happening? Hey, what's your name is? Hey. And then I start being disrespectful. Oh, fuck you then. You ain't want to. All right. I would want one of my fellas to be like, yo, Pete, chill, man. Shorty said no. Like, leave her alone. She got the right to say no. She got the right to walk through the hood. She got the right to walk from her car to her place. She got the right to go to the bank. She got the right to get stopped by the officer and get a ticket and not get dragged out of a car. She got the right to be chilling after working at the hospital and not have to worry about somebody busting into her house shooting. She got the right, man. And the only way to ensure that she has the right is to actually help enforce it the way they do with us. They trying to infringe on our rights. Black women stepping in saying, nah, Black lives matter. We want justice. I think it's time for the ladies to get justice too. Fellas, black men, I think it's time that we really start protecting our black women. And if you made it to the end of this, if you made it to this part and you like, damn, he's talking about protecting black women. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because you know the most protected woman in the world is a white woman. She could scream out, ah, somebody said something to me in the elevator, and they'll burn down a whole town. She could say, ah, black man looked at me. And they'll burn down every black house in that neighborhood. Or she could be standing in Central Park and make a phone call and say, there's an African American man harassing me. Oh my God, he's out. And they'll be running to Central Park. Or she could literally have something wrong with her. Literally get raped. And they'll just snatch every little black boy off the street that happened to be in that vicinity during that time. And maybe lock up 5 of them for a lifetime. Even though they ain't guilty. Just to do it. Just to show that they protect white women. I'm saying, I ain't lying. So fellas, this ain't slavery time no more. We don't gotta walk our wives to master house and watch her go in the door and close the door and get raped by these people, these rapists and killers who stole us and brought us to this land. We don't have to sit in that position to protect our family, because if we strike them, they'll kill us and make it worse on our family. We don't sit in that position no more. We sit in a position now where we can stand up, where we can make sure and let our voice be heard and let it be understood that you can't just attack the black women without dealing with a black man, without having to face black men. Yo, I don't know what else I could say to try to convince you, if I needed to convince you, if you wasn't already doing this. I got faith in y'all fellas. I know that you already doing it. And if you're not doing it right now, you're about to let it click and you're about to start doing it. I already know. I can see it in your eyes. You're about to apologize to your BM. You about to apologize to your girl. You about to tell them, listen, I know I messed up. I know whatever I said was wrong, but I don't mean those words. And I want to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, we stand together and we work together and we build together, whether we are together or not. I know we about to change our ways. We about to embark on a different journey. It ain't just about changing police. It's about changing our mindset too. And I know that we're going to protect our queens by any means necessary. I did have a question for the ladies, but I don't think I'm going to ask it right now. I think it's a totally different topic for a totally different time. But I will say this. I don't just protect my black queens from police or the white man or the black man. I also protect my black queens from black women. Don't take offense. If we're going to protect black queens, we got to protect them across the board. That means no harm should come to them from nobody, including us. Listen, it's PD CEO. We'll talk again. Peace.